Back on Earth news now, and the latest from the Middle East, I think, can be summarised in 2 words. Oh dear. You could have gone with another word after the O, but definitely started with O and then something 4 letters long. I'm starting to think that things aren't going to be all fixed by Christmas, as I was hoping both last year and this year, and for every year since 6000 BC or so. And my main concern now is for UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, because I think he will soon be suffering from repetitive strain injury from frowning and possibly weeping, and it's possible that his entire face will just be fixed in a perma-frown, and that he will never be able to express any emotion again facially other than despair and disgust at what the world is becoming. And I'm very concerned about this. He issued a tweet. He put out a tweet last week, and this might be the saddest tweet he's put out, I think. A united Security Council can make a tremendous difference for peace. And I mean, that might be factually correct, but it's also one of the things that is least likely to happen on this planet. Bearing in mind that the members of the Security Council are the USA, France, and the UK, and China, and Russia. And achieving unity amongst those 5, let alone the other 10 non-permanent members, that is now looking about as likely as Elvis Presley winning the 2028 US presidential election. It's not completely out of the question, but it is a long shot, and a lot of questions will be asked if it does suddenly happen. Russia in particular does not seem particularly unity-inclined at the moment. Have you got any shreds of optimism to throw into this casserole of gloom?
Well, I don't know. The UN nowadays reminds me a little bit of the Roman Emperor Nero, Andy. Like him, no one told them when the people are up for a violin concert and when they need to read the room and not play the violin because people are otherwise busy. I think they get together, they say a lot of things. And I've learned a thing from millennials. It's called a word salad. It's apparently a lot of words that are said.
Quite healthy as well. It's one of the healthiest ways of consuming words. You don't put too much dressing on it.
I often wonder that if you've got word salad on one side and bunker buster bombs on the other, I feel like the latter might be a little more effective.
Well, I mean, there's that famous saying, isn't there? The pen is mightier than the sword. And the only problem with that is that it's completely and utterly untrue. And also, the pen is definitely not mightier than the nuclear bomb, for example, or various other forms of military hardware. But it's a charming idea to cling to, however naive.
Politico referred to the UN's relevance problem like it's a female pop star attempting a comeback. What the last kind of big thing they were doing was to propose this 21-day ceasefire.
Yeah.
And that everyone had come together to propose that, and then it's just been treated as a serving suggestion, I guess.
Personally, I mean, I'm not really in favour of a 21-day ceasefire. I'd much rather have a 21 millennium ceasefire, which I think would be just enough time to let everything and everyone calm down, and at the end of which people might have forgotten what they were fighting about, but that might still be on the conservative side. I mean, maybe this idea of unity in the UN Security Council, it's like the start of an American sports movie where a team of people who don't get on at all, can't play well together, they gradually bond and they end up winning a trophy and everyone getting very excited. And yeah, by this time next year, we'll have Keir Starmer, whoever's running France by then, Kamala Harris, please, Xi Jinping and Vladdy Poodles. I'll be singing Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong at a special Eternal Peace concert in Beirut. We just don't know at this stage.
They'll definitely be serving sausages.
Well, yeah, so this was the big highlight from last week was when Keir Starmer brought some much-needed levity into the Middle East issue by accidentally saying, we should assume accidentally, actually. I say that, I mean, it's possible. He said sausages instead of hostages, and people rather rashly assumed that it was a slip of the tongue. I mean, do you think it definitely was, Tiff, or do you think actually...
I don't know, maybe he was doing... who's the guy that does all the spoofy songs? Like Eat It and...
Weird Al Yankovic.
Weird Al. Maybe he was Weird Al-ing the speech. I'm just gonna swap words in. Maybe we've got it all wrong. Maybe this whole time dogs have been asking for hostages and not sausages.
Yeah.
Keep taking them to the butchers, and they're like, "Why are you bringing me here? I said I want hostages."
They should definitely return the hostages, but if Hamas did take some sausages, they should return that as well. Honestly, I think they should give back both those things that they've taken.
I would agree with that. Also, I mean, it's possible that Keir Starmer was just trying to enter himself into the pantheon of great misspoken words in famous speeches, because we generally only remember the retakes when people make a mistake, and not the original version with the mistakes. Starmer's mistake was that it was broadcast live, so he couldn't re-record it with hostages instead of sausages. But for example, John F. Kennedy, his first effort was "Ich bin ein Burly Nerd," because he loved rugby and he loved stats. Robert Oppenheimer, "Now I am become death, destroyer of curls, death for straight hair without the faff." This is Margaret Thatcher's "There's no such thing as sobriety." And Mao Zedong, "Political power grows out of the apparel of a nun." Mrs. And of course, FDR's "The only thing we have to fear is ferrets' health." Someone had mistyped his auto cue. And of course, Patrick Henry, the American revolutionary in 1775, "Give me liberty, or give me free clothes and tickets to an Arsenal game." Oh, that was Keir Starmer as well. We forget.
What we do know is if there were sausages, they definitely weren't pork.
Yeah, I mean that probably would have helped. Maybe that would help us. I don't know. Maybe that's something that can bring people together. I am starting to worry that Guterres is really not getting a lot of job satisfaction, which is very important in the modern workplace. In the 2020s, you want to be able to get into your job and feel happy and content. And I just don't think, he himself admitted that the UN cannot mediate in conflicts where the parties are not themselves seeking mediation. So you can understand why he's so gloomy, and it is hard to be helpful. I still personally like to think the glass is half full, albeit that it is half full of the shattered remnants of what used to be the top half of the glass. So that's the way I see the situation.
Look, also, Andy, I don't know, there's been too much pressure on America to always mediate things, right? You're a big sports fan. I would imagine, what if there was someone completely from the left field who comes in and mediates and solves this and takes care of the shit? Like Gabon steps up. And suddenly you hear an announcement that Djibouti has stepped up and taken care of the whole thing, got everyone to sit down, and everyone's gone home. I feel like other players need to step up now.
Yes. Well, it does seem that whatever we're doing at the moment isn't really working. And I mean, it's possible even rather than having countries, you should just get randomly selected people, or even sports teams from around the world should be summoned to, right, okay, this week you are going to sort out the Middle East crisis. The Jacksonville Jaguars, you're going to take a week off from your troubled start to the NFL season, and you're just going to go out and you're going to sort the Middle East out. I think, that could work. Paris Saint-Germain could, just go, and instead of playing overplayed football, they could, just, I haven't thought through the logistics.
I think Man City, send them in to sort out the Ukraine.
It's about time we started using sports washing for the purposes of good and human progress.
I mean, for example, like you said, if the Saudis are going to own the second moon, there's definitely going to be a golf tournament on there.